What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. Today is a beautiful day. We have a very interesting subject today. I'm gonna play and we're gonna make your comments right after. Let's go.
So in most Indian families, it's unacceptable to marry someone who is outside of your race and religion. So especially, it is forbidden if you marry somebody black. So that was like huge. I actually just left Marshall's and the manager, nice looking, dark brown skin, dreads, was asking me if I was Indian. And I was like, yeah, I am. And he was telling me how he was engaged to an Indian woman. And then her parents went and found a dude in India for her to marry. So she called it off with him. And he was like so hurt. And I was like, what the fuck? So I told him, I was like, that's her fault because she knew what her parents were like.
This is very interesting, as you can see, this lady explaining how culturally in their community they accept or not accept a partner for life. So she says in the Indian community, they necessarily, most of the time, choose to marry within their community. They choose to marry other Indians so they can keep the religion, the tradition alive. That's a good reason for them not to want to marry anybody from any other community. Then she says she went walking and met this good-looking gentleman, dark skin brown, that asked her if she was Indian. And she said, yes, I am Indian. And went on to explain to her how his heart was broken after he broke up with his previous girlfriend or previous fiancée, an Indian woman, because this Indian woman's family didn't want him. After they were engaged, this girl's family went to India to try to find a man for her, and he was broken. So the first thing I have to say here is that when a man meets you, let's say somebody meets you out the street and start asking you questions, are you from such and such place? Oh, really? Well, I used to date this person from that place, but the family never wanted me. Why do you think somebody will do that? Why do you think somebody would want just to randomly tell you a story about somebody they dated? And especially if they feel like you probably look alike. Because they're sort of interested, right? Yes, because they sort of want to talk to you a little bit. Maybe, okay, I was broken in the past and I'm talking to you now and I'm hoping that maybe you're going to be different. If you're interested, by the way she describes him, you can see she thought he was good looking, right? Fine, brown skin looking man. Now, the culture says, according to her, that it's better for them to marry within their community in order to preserve the community and the spirit. But what's interesting here is and she also says, this necessarily means against black people. So they're okay with marrying other people, different other communities, different other races, except for black people. That's very intriguing. Okay, let's watch the second person. We'll make a comment, right?
So do my Indian parents finally accept my half-black children? Let's get into it. So last I left off, I haven't spoken to my dad in over a decade. I think the last time I spoke to him was in 2013. I don't need him in my kids' lives. He disowned me a long time ago, or I felt he disowned me, even though I felt like he wanted to communicate with me, but he didn't want to own up to the fact that he has half-black grandchildren. He would tell people I'm off somewhere studying. The kids didn't exist. There was no pictures of me in his house. There's no pictures of the kids in this house. Anytime I would see one of his friends, oh, how's school? Bro, I'm married. But anyways, yeah, I don't need that in my life. You'll learn more about my upbringing with my dad and my stepmother in another video. There's a lot there. Anyway, so now let's get into my mom. I tried. Guys, I tried. And I'm like, okay, let's see if she changed. And I would use little triggers to see how she would react. There were 3 things that I'm like, wow, you can still do this to this day? So one was my 21-year-old hurt his Achilles in December. He got hurt. I told Instagram, Facebook, all of that. So my mom follows me on Facebook. So she read it. And I also told my sister, who told my mom. My mom writes me 4 days after it happened. And she was like, she wrote me on Facebook Messenger. She's like, is, Elijah okay? I was like, he's okay. He's in a lot of pain. She wrote me 2 days after that message and gave me a thumbs up emoji. A thumbs up. Okay, whatever. So I decided to visit my sister in Maryland, and because she just had a baby and I wanted to see my nieces. There's 2 of them. So I went there with my oldest daughter, who was her favorite when I was younger. She was literally like, give me her and I want to raise her again like she was her daughter, because, you know, apparently she didn't raise me and my sister right. Yeah, anyways. So I brought her to Maryland to see her grandmother because she also wanted to see her uncle and her aunt and all of that good stuff. And my mom, the only thing she really said to my daughter was hi. There was no conversation. There was no, oh, how's school? Or what are you doing? Are you working? There was no trying to get to know her granddaughter at all. And I'm like, that's crazy. You would think she wants to get to know her grandchild. Like, who wouldn't want to get to know your grandchild? If I had a grandchild, I want to know everything about that child. But yeah, she really wasn't trying to talk to that child. And it was very disheartening to see. Very disheartening. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm going to have to get to a part 2 because there's not enough room in this video for this.
Fellas, this is very sad. I mean, the goal here, obviously, is not to pin anybody, put anybody on the ground, on a cross. We're talking about facts that are actually factual, and you can double check these facts. The truth is, many of these communities don't want us in their lives. We need to say that the way it is. We need to speak the way it is. They will find all sort of reasons to justify why they don't want anybody from another community, especially when one of us want them. They will say, no, our community tries to stay within our community. Until a white fella comes and asks the same question. Okay? So I remember I've seen many times some of these incidents. I had a discussion. The first time I had a discussion with a person, a lady that's Indian. We chat. We were just colleagues, really. We just talked and discussed about it. Okay, she wasn't. No, there was nothing like that. That's you coming. Absolutely not. So we just had a discussion and stuff. And she explained to me how in their community they choose to stay within themselves, meaning marrying within Indians and themselves. Then I said, okay, I was okay with that. And I respected it. It sounded like their tradition. I mean, who doesn't want to keep their culture and their traditions alive? Everybody wants to do that. Until I saw her sister with her husband. Okay? Her sister's husband was white. So I'm like, okay, so this community principle only applies when it comes to black people, not when it comes to white people. Oh, I see. Now what's interesting is the first lady said it herself. We stay within our community. We don't want black people. Okay, she didn't say it exactly that way, but she said something along the lines of, we can try with some communities, but not black people. Now, if you get back to history, I think history is very interesting to look at because it gives us a lot of insight to many things of today that we may not understand. You know, within the Indian community, thousands of years ago, they had societal structures on top of like a pyramid system of society. Some people were on top, some people were at the bottom. The people on top, most of the time, were the lighter skinned people. And the darker you went to the lower stage, lower level of the society. On top of the pyramid, you had the people that they called the Brahmin. Brahmin people were priests and intellectuals at the time. They ruled over India. They were the most respected people. After them came the Kshatriya. Kshatriya people were nobles and warriors. And after the Kshatriya, you got the Vaishyas. They were business owners. After the Vaishyas, or below the Vaishyas, you had the Shudras. They were servants and workers. Then below the Shudras, you had the untouchable. The untouchable community that called today Dalit are the darker skin of Indians. Those ones, no, you can't talk to them. They mostly do, work like working in the sewage, cleaning toilets, doing, that's exactly what it is. The bottom line is, if you look at the world, very honestly, you will notice that black people are not respected anywhere in the world. There are black people in India. They are very neglected. They're nobodies. They're treated like trash. There are black people in China. They're treated like trash. You will find black people in Australia. They are treated like trash. You will find black people in Philippines. They are at the bottom of the society. You will find black people in Brazil, black people in Colombia. They are at the bottom of society. Nobody wants to marry them. Of course, you see people from other places wanting to try, whether it is sexual or just in curiosity, some of our sisters. But the inverse doesn't happen, okay? The opposite never happens. It's a big problem, big trouble, and it's very saddening. Now, my question is, if you go to a place and people don't seem to like you, why do you force? Why are you trying to be forced? Why do you want to force yourself into being liked, being accepted? If people don't necessarily like you, why do you want to force? I mean, have some self-respect. Look at yourself and say, you know what? I'm going to turn back to my people, or just be myself, or maybe try some other people. That will give you a little more respect on what you're getting from the people you're actually looking for. I think that's what it is. I mean, you look at South African society. There are white people, Indians, colored, who are mixed race, and black people. But if you look very honestly, you will notice that a lot of Indians do not marry black people in South Africa. I know it doesn't sound good to hear, but that's the truth. Indians marrying outside their culture will marry white and sometimes colored. They will not marry black. Why? And a lot of you are fantasizing about getting an Indian girl. Okay, I have nothing wrong with that. If she loves you, great. If they're not very interested, or she's shy, she's not strong enough to fight for you within her community, because obviously she will be trashed, she will be pinned, she will be crucified for it's very saddening. I just feel like it's necessary, because if you look throughout Africa, especially Central Western Africa, a lot of women feel some sort of an upgrade. Marrying an Indian person is like an upgrade in society. Yes, because a lot of Indians do business in West, East and Central Africa. They have money, supposedly. So a lot of African women, when they marry an Indian person or where they interact with an Indian person, they feel like they've upgraded the level. They've leveled up. And looking at other people in some sort of a paternalistic view, like, I'm not in your level anymore. It's very saddening. I don't see how you respect. I mean, I don't know if you see that you're degrading your own society. When you go, many of them, unfortunately, when they get attached, when they get into relationship with these people, we start talking negatively about their own people. And that's very sad. So fellas, I don't think it makes sense that you go out there in other people's country and say Black Lives Matter, respect us, we are you. Because when it says Black Lives Matter, to me it feels like you're trying to remind people that you are human beings. Shouldn't that be automatic? Like, shouldn't they know that, don't they know that you are humans and you should be respected? Why? Turn into your community, work with each other, do business with one another. You heard where the money comes from? They're going to respect you. Why do you think people in other countries can feel comfortable saying, okay, from now on, you are not getting a visa to my country? And you just sit there doing nothing. You need to reciprocate. You need to say, you know what, we're not coming to Dubai. Well, you're not coming to Africa either. We don't want you here either. You stay with your place, that's fine. We're going to stay with our country. And that's how you value yourself in your society. Okay, fellas, we're not going to get emotional about this. We are beautiful people. We are happy people most of the time. Let me know how you feel about this. If this is something that you like, feel free to join us, grow our community for the best. I wish you a beautiful day. I'll speak to you very soon. God bless.